and welcome to today's webinar. It's not the breach, it's the spread, strengthening cyber resilience. These days, just keeping attackers out isn't enough. The bigger concern is what happens after, when a breach turns into a full-blown business disruption. That's why more and more customers are asking not just for protection, but for resilience. And they're turning to partners like you to help make that happen. Today's conversation is all about giving you the insights, the data, and the tools to help your customers build stronger, smarter security strategies and to help you position yourself as the trusted advisor they're looking for. You'll learn how to reduce attack surfaces and secure critical IT assets. Leverage compliance as a strategic advantage. Visualize vulnerabilities to prevent lateral movement and position your business as a trusted cybersecurity advisor. I'm joined today by Garrett Weber, Senior Director of Solutions Engineering at Akamai, and Ellen Daniel, Senior Content Strategist here at the Channel Company. How you two?
Hey, Sydney, how are you?
Doing great. Glad to have you both here. Now, Garrett, to kick things off, we went straight to the source. We asked 100 IT decision makers how confident they are in the security support they're getting and what they actually want from their providers. Ellen, give us a high-level view.
Thanks, Sydney. As Sydney just said, we surveyed 100 IT decision makers for our research today. Job titles included IT directors, IT managers, CIOs, CTOs, and heads of cybersecurity. 40% of respondents use hybrid cloud, 24% use public cloud, and 17% use private cloud. 51% of respondents said they outsource some element of their security operations at their organization, with 47% answering no. A significant number of organizations are shifting from in-house to outsourced security, so this comes as no surprise. Of those that are using third-party security, the most common thing to outsource is pen testing, followed by threat intelligence and MDR. Third-party providers offer specialized expertise and access to technologies that might be unavailable internally, so outsourcing more specialized areas of security or services that require round-the-clock monitoring makes sense for many organizations, allowing them to focus on their core business operations. This is reflected in the next finding, with 65% outsourcing cybersecurity due to a lack of internal expertise and 61% wanting access to better security capabilities. Having a second set of eyes and compliance requirements also ranked highly. Channel partners must therefore ensure that they are positioning the value of their security services and how they fit with these motivations. Finally, respondents were asked to rate how confident they are that their service provider is improving their cyber resilience on a scale of 1 to 10. The average rating was 7.5 out of 10. Satisfaction levels are generally high here, indicating that respondents feel that they are better protected as a result of their partnerships. Strong relationships, effective communication, and providing the right expertise and tailored solutions are crucial for a positive experience.
Thanks, Ellen. That really shows there's an opportunity for partners to step up and deliver more. Garrett, let's talk about it. If more customers feel their providers are good but not great, what can partners do to strengthen that trust?
Yeah, Sydney, the first thing I think partners can do is help translate technology and the impact into business value. Because organizations right now are seeing a lot more kind of stringent controls on the checkbook, and they need to do a lot more justification to the CFO for what they're purchasing and what the return on that investment is. And the ability to tie it back to business value ultimately gives the customers a really good partnership with the partner to do that together. The other part I think is understand the customer enough so you can proactively anticipate their needs and become a source of insight and be able to understand, hey, we've heard you talk about moving to the cloud or modernizing apps with Kubernetes. Here's some of the threat vectors you need to look at. And here's some technologies you may want to include within that stack. Like, know what they're going to look for and make good quality recommendations to help build a roadmap for the future with that organization. And then that just builds that level of trust. And trust always comes with recurring business when it comes to those situations.
We heard that limited internal expertise is a big driver for outsourcing. How can partners step in and support those gaps?
I think where organizations need help is having the right subject matter experts from the partners come in and provide training or co-working sessions with the organization to assess their security posture and assess where they could be doing things better, and also letting them know where they've optimized. Like, customers don't always necessarily want to know where things are bad. They also want to know, what am I doing well? Like, what should I double down on in some ways? And the other way to do this is share what's worked with other customers. So every organization I work with thinks that they're a unicorn in some way. They're unique. There's something different about them. But the reality is, most of them have peers like them in their industry, or size and shape of that organization, that you can share stories about how you've helped that organization go from security posture A to security posture Z, and all the work that went into that. So I think when you can share those success stories and offer your subject matter experts to help those organizations, you're more likely to have an organization outsource to that partner to get that assistance.
That's very true. And for organizations that haven't outsourced security at all, what's a smart way for partners to start that conversation?
Everyone is stretched thin somewhere in the organization, and it's about finding that pain point of where the customer is stretched thin. Is it implementation and services? Is it within their SOC? Is it within their ability to detect and respond to a breach? Like, try and understand where your services help that customer improve what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. The other way I position these conversations when I talk about services Akamai offers is understanding, like, give a theoretical scenario. Let's say a breach occurs within your environment. What would be your response time? How confident are you that you have the right controls in place? And then, back to the last question, share those success stories and recommend some type of a pilot program that shows them the value that your organization can provide to them. Because the reality is, if you can show value in a story and then reflect that in a pilot program where they see and they feel tangible results, you're more likely to win that business.
Now, to get a better sense of what's really going on inside organizations, we asked them about their biggest security challenges, recent incidents, how long it took to recover, and how this relates to microsegmentation. Ellen, can you walk us through it?
Thanks, Sydney. When asked to rank the biggest security challenges they currently face, phishing prevention came out on top, chosen by over half of respondents. Staying ahead of the threat landscape and educating employees about security risk was also ranked highly, as was compliance and data protection. 11% of respondents said their attack surface has grown significantly in recent years, and 35% said that it has grown somewhat. Just 16% said that their attack surface has shrunk. And this is to be expected, considering the increase in the number of endpoints and the rise in remote working. Protecting increasingly complex and distributed customer networks is a challenge for many channel partners, and they must ensure that they have the right solutions to protect customer applications, APIs, and networks. 74% of respondents said it would take them 2 days or less for their organization or security service provider to fully recover from a cyber attack. While this is encouraging, over a quarter said it would take them over 3 days to recover. The time taken to recover will depend on many things, including the type of attack, the organization's preparedness, and its response plan. But security service providers must ensure that they have the means to minimize this recovery time or risk losing customer confidence. 81% said that lateral movement had not occurred during a cyber attack at their organization. However, this is concerning, as 14% are unsure whether it has occurred or not. With it highly likely that organizations will be breached at some point, minimizing what adversaries can access by ring-fencing critical assets is crucial. Service providers must therefore ensure that they are controlling network access and isolating workloads.
The research shows most companies' attack surface has stayed the same or gotten bigger. Why is that a red flag? And how can microsegmentation give partners a way to help shrink that risk?
Yeah, I think first, in my experience, everyone's attack surface has gotten bigger. And for organizations that feel like their attack surface hasn't grown, they probably need to check in with their infrastructure and their development teams and see what they've been working on. Because whether it's new APIs within the environment, moving out to different cloud environments, your attack surface has grown in some way. I'm actually pretty impressed by the organizations that say that they've shrunk their attack surface, because that should be the end goal of this whole building a resiliency plan. Um, the big problem with the increasing attack surface is it just offers more opportunity for the attacker to have access to the environment and get that first foothold of something, whether it's a vulnerable web server on the internet or a user that clicks a phishing link in an email. Once the attacker's in, if you don't have any control to reduce that attack surface, then they can start to move laterally. And that's really where the breach becomes a problem. The ability for the attacker to move laterally means eventually they can disrupt your business in some way. And microsegmentation is a tool or a solution that allows you to reduce that attack surface with minimal changes to the customer's network environment. So partners can really help organizations implement and maintain microsegmentation and continually reduce that attack surface as the environment changes over time, as they move to modernizing applications or to the cloud, or they stand up a new location in a different part of the world. Microsegmentation is a flexible solution that helps reduce that attack surface to reduce the impact of the breach.
You mentioned microsegmentation is flexible. How does it work across different cloud environments?
Yeah, great question. So it's much the same as it does in a traditional corporate environment if you have multiple data centers. It can still be used to reduce the attack surface, but I would argue you actually have a better opportunity of impacting reducing the attack surface in a cloud environment because you can build the security into the pipeline that your developers, your infrastructure teams are building as they're bringing these systems online. Because microsegmentation isn't a heavy network-based solution at this point, it's software-based, you can build it into that development pipeline as everything's coming online. And then the real benefit here is you can implement it across multi-cloud, whether you're in Microsoft or AWS or Google Cloud or Oracle Cloud. Because it's mainly a software-based solution, you can centralize all of that security policy management into one user interface, regardless of the number of cloud environments or legacy data centers that you may be maintaining today.
A lot of organizations said they believed they will be able to recover from a breach in just a few days. That's definitely a good sign, but it doesn't always mean the attack was fully contained. How can microsegmentation help partners and customers stay in control and limit lateral movement during and after a breach?
So first, I'll say a few days is definitely better than a few weeks, which is what we've seen in the past, where organizations are working on pencil and paper for a few weeks as they're bringing the business back online. But wouldn't it be a better scenario if it was just a few hours or the breach itself didn't turn into an actual incident? And that's where microsegmentation really helps organizations build in a security blanket to limit lateral movement, which, like I said before, is where breaches really get nasty and become the most impactful. So if I'm an organization and an attacker gets into my environment, but I can limit the access that attacker may have ahead of time based on where they came in or the user's credentials that they compromised. Maybe I'm just reimaging a few workstations, resetting a password, blocking an inbound or outbound connection at my firewall. I'm not recovering my whole environment from backups and taking users and systems offline in order to get the business back into a good place. So microsegmentation is a tool that helps you reduce that risk of lateral movement, control access to sensitive internal resources, and then in the event of a breach, sets off the alarm bells for your SOC and your incident response teams to be able to take quicker action. Because again, we're talking about software that can quickly limit someone's access if you haven't already built the policy in place. So microsegmentation should be viewed as a very complementary tool with like your EDR, your MDR solution that you may be deploying and managing for a customer today.
Now, let's dig into what the research says about segmentation. We asked respondents which types of segmentation they are actually using today and what's holding them back from going further. Ellen, take us through what stood out.
Thanks, Sydney. In this final set of research findings, we dug a bit deeper into microsegmentation. 63% of respondents said they currently use network segmentation, with 38% using identity-based segmentation and 31% using environment segmentation. Just 12% are currently using microsegmentation, and 16% answered none of the above. This indicates that the use of microsegmentation tools is somewhat limited today, giving partners an opportunity to offer this type of service to their customers. A lack of relevant skills or resources was identified as the biggest barrier to implementing segmentation, followed by the time it takes to implement and the potential impact on user experience. This highlights areas of concern and potential misconceptions around microsegmentation. Respondents are worried that it is difficult to implement and will negatively impact user experience in some way. It is therefore important for service providers to alleviate these concerns and demonstrate the benefits of microsegmentation in terms of securing modern environments and the advantages it offers over more established approaches. When it comes to zero trust implementation, respondents were fairly evenly split, with 43% currently using zero trust principles and another 43% not. As securing endpoints becomes increasingly complex, there has been an uptick in the implementation of zero trust models, but the varying definitions of zero trust has made applying these principles a challenge for some. Microsegmentation is a key component of zero trust, making it possible to enforce the principles of least privilege. And finally, when asked to identify the most important features to have in a security solution, threat intelligence came out on top, followed by real-time and historical visibility and automated discovery. Flexible asset labeling was deemed the least important.
Garrett, we just heard only 12% of respondents said they're using microsegmentation today. Why do you think adoption is still so low? And what's the risk of waiting too long to implement it?
Yeah, I would say it's viewed as hard to implement, and that's probably a legacy view from 3 to 5 years ago in the market, where it was sort of difficult to implement because the vendors were still learning what are the right workflows that need to be in place to really do this at scale. And I think we've seen that shift where the vendors have the proper implementation strategies and workflows and have introduced AI-based workflows and control to ease that burden of the implementation in the user experience and make sure that you're building good policy, but you don't need to start from scratch, basically. And the risk really is simple. Like if you've been breached, you're likelihood of kind of quickly detecting and limiting the impact of that breach is much less if you don't have a microsegmentation solution deployed. But if you do, like one of our customers, they saw their mean time to detect a breach go from 45 days to less than 1 day with a microsegmentation solution in place. And I think that's a place all customers would want to be when it comes to how quickly can I detect and respond to a breach.
45 days to less than 1 day speaks volumes. Now, how does microsegmentation fit in with a zero trust strategy, and how can partners benefit from this?
Yeah, it's really a core pillar of a zero trust strategy because it fulfills everything you need to implement zero trust principles at the network layer. You really can't say you're following zero trust principles today without implementing a microsegmentation solution. Your traditional network segmentation just does not qualify for implementing least privilege within an environment. What I'm seeing is more partners have zero trust and resiliency practices that are geared towards helping organizations assess their risk of lateral movement and implement and maintain a microsegmentation solution. So, depending on the size of the customer and the use cases they're trying to solve, partners have an opportunity to offer significant services for implementation, management, even managed services and support, tier one and tier two support offerings for organizations around microsegmentation as it aligns to the zero trust principle. So I think if you have a zero trust practice within your partner organization today, you should have a microsegmentation solution that you're offering and bringing to customers because there's a huge opportunity there to help them meet their zero trust needs, and also build your book of business.
We touched on this a bit. Lack of relevant skills and the time it takes to implement are two of the top barriers for microsegmentation. How is Akamai helping partners close that gap for their customers?
First, I'll say we offer certification tracks around Akamai Guardicore segmentation, which is our microsegmentation solution. And those tracks are built specifically for partners to learn how to sell and offer services and support around microsegmentation. We also offer the opportunities for partners to shadow all of our teams and really get some hands-on in the field training of how the implementation or an assessment or an evaluation of a microsegmentation solution looks like today. And the reality for us is that our business has kind of grown so quickly in this space of zero trust and microsegmentation that we need partners to take on some of these efforts because our teams are stretched pretty thin with the number of opportunities and customers that we're working with. And we see partners as a strategic path for us to continue to grow our business and offer partners the ability to offer a new service to their customers to grow their business.
With all these segmentation tools out there, what sets Akamai apart, and how does your approach help partners earn trust and grow their business?
I'll boil it down to breadth of coverage of the different environments and operating systems that organizations have. And then our focus on visibility and ease of use. We've really invested heavily on making sure that the product is easy to use, easy to implement, and offers the organization the opportunity to successfully implement the use cases they're looking to implement, going along with the expertise from our services and support teams on how to do this at scale, which helps alleviate the concerns of customers who never done this before. It's a new technology. How am I going to implement it? What's the impact going to be? Now, partners benefit from this because customers like to see completed projects. They don't like shelfware. They want to know that their investment is worthwhile. And our teams focus on delivering value and completing the work, not just filling a block of hours, which means we will continually support both our customers and our partners until the job is done and the use case is fully implemented.
That really brings everything together. Whether we're talking about faster recovery, better visibility, or reducing risk, microsegmentation has a big role to play in what's next. Ellen, Garrett, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. I'll say when you think about resiliency, think about how microsegmentation can help your customers limit that impact of a breach. That's really what resiliency is there to offer the customers. And think about Akamai when you think about who can you partner with on the vendor side that's going to offer your organization the best opportunity to build a practice around microsegmentation that helps meet your customer needs.
Thank you both, and thank you to everyone watching. If you want to learn more about how Akamai is helping partners bring modern microsegmentation and zero trust solutions to customers, visit the website right there on your screen. For the channel company, I'm Sydney Neely.